There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Man, Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Thank you.
All right.
got
You good
some
to go?
grays, but damn, that light makes me like, because my hair's like, I guess
Time to
dirty
shave
blonde.
it, Jacob. Trying to be bald like me.
It's a bit more
Well,
dirtier
women
than
love
blonde,
the sexy
but
bald headeds.
it makes all the lighter colored hairs look like they're gray. I look like I have like salt and pepper hair.
You look like you've got green hair right now.
Really?
A little bit,
pictures. I colored my hair green once.
Nice.
My favorite color.
Do that thing. Do that thing. Woohoo.
Everybody ready to talk? Phantoms was Ben Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms.
Bomb and Phantom, yo.
Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed that small piece of conversation that I put in every week where we don't actually start with, hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Fifth Dimension anymore, because I like to be unique. I don't really like to be unique, but
Unique New York. Unique New York.
Unique New York.
exactly.
Aluminum
Unique
linoleum.
New-
Aluminum
Unique
linoleum.
New York. You can't. It's like a tongue twister. You can't do it.
Unique New York. Unique New York.
York.
Damn
No,
it.
but like unique New York. Yeah, it's
Watch
it's
it.
like
Watch it.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna start getting into like really bad problems there. Get my channel demonetized. Okay, so we're back to talk another episode of the Twilight Zone, the Fifth Dimension podcast, Rod Serling's favorite podcast, if you were ever alive. Because we do this series justice, unlike some people who don't do series justice. I don't know. We try to.
Yeah,
we don't ever finish it when we get there.
I always finish, sir.
So do
I'm
I.
sure you do. You've Jacob's finished at least 7 times. I'll say that much.
6. Had 2 for 1.
True.
Had a coupon.
He had a coupon.
No, he goes into the doctor's office. He's like, so how about that 2 for 1 coupon? Is that good? He's like, yeah, it would just give me 9 months.
3 for 1.
Anyways, so today we're on our 130th episode. Technically, we've done some other episodes, but it's technically the 130th episode of the Twilight Zone. We're getting close to the end, about 22 more episodes or 26
It's
or whatever.
The end of the world as we know it.
Actually, how many more episodes we're on 11
I
episodes.
sung that
We're
song
on
in the
episode
video back in the
10.
day for a trailer,
Nice.
but I made my own words. You guys didn't see it? I was really proud of that.
There's a lot of shit.
Was
I
that like
haven't
your first
seen.
video? was
No,
Jacob's first
actually, it was
video.
one of my later ones. It was the trailer for my comic book movie review series.
I don't
that
think I knew
never
you,
finished.
Jacob. I don't think I knew you at the time, actually, when you started
Yep,
that.
you
Did
did.
I? Or was that the video game? Which one was the one that you started like
The
way
video
before?
game when I started like in 2018 or 19. I think it was 19, beginning of 2019. No, we weren't chummy then. But the
Yeah, to be
comic book
fair,
movie
I
when I
don't-
started at the end of the video game movie one. I just never finished it.
Right.
That's what she said.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't watch a lot of people's videos because I just don't have time half the time. I'm like either trying to get one of my videos put up or trying to sleep, which doesn't happen, or working. It's like it's becoming a problem. So if you guys want to donate to the Nick Fund, I'd be glad so I don't have to work anymore. I
That
think
would
that'd be
actually-
nice.
It's super nerdy and it's terrible, but I really actually want you guys to see it. We don't have to right now. Before we get off, you gotta.
Yeah, just send. I'll find it. You can send it to us.
I want you guys to see it.
Um.
It's kind of funny. I changed all the words to comic book movie.
Oh my god, I can't wait to watch it. We'll watch it. But we're here. We're going to talk season 5, episode 10. The 7th is made up of phantoms. But before we do, we of course have a guest host who's back
Woo!
from existence of the Twilight Zone. He's been in the Chicago Twilight Zone for a long time. The world of in the city of Indianapolis or wherever, dealing with all that nonsense. That of course is Kurt. How you doing, Kurt? Welcome back. I'm sorry you had to talk about this episode.
You live in
I like this episode.
Gas.
I'm sorry.
Nick hates everything.
No.
It's okay.
And the
I
exception
had
of
everything.
last week's episode.
Are you guys picking up my air
Which,
conditioner?
Nah, you're good.
I just like to flex that I got air now. You hear that air?
Jacob will officially not have swamp ass on this episode. You guys are good to go.
By the way, for Kurt, I have air in my house, just not on this bottom level. He's probably like,
That's
what
what
kind
she
of
said.
caveman do they got on here? You ain't got no fucking central heating or air in his house. I do.
I mean, it
Anyway,
is
moving on.
Alabama.
Yeah, you can't live with
Swamp
that.
bass.
That's a
Yeah,
swamp ass.
Greenbow, Alabama.
Yeehaw!
Or no,
Greenville,
Selma,
Alabama is not a real
Alabama.
place.
That's what they say about
Greenville,
Florida,
Alabama.
but I still live here. Florida ain't a real place either. So I think the South is not a real place. I think it's an imaginary
I was gonna
place
say, I
made
think
up of
it's-
rats and Jacob's
Consistency.
view on the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
I
Yeah,
live
yeah.
in Selma,
Um,
Alabama.
I mean, where I'm at, where I live is all corn, so you know.
Yeah, same here.
yeah, you have baseball players that just come out of the corn. So
We do, yeah. It's a current common
yeah.
occurrence.
right. So Kurt, I'm glad that you like this episode. So it'll make it much easier when we rank this 130th for us, maybe not for you. No, but welcome back. I appreciate you coming on. I know it's late. I can once again, we were supposed to record this like a few days ago, but I was really sick.
Yeah.
So thank you for being flexible as always.
I have
I
nothing
can put
but,
my,
nothing
I-
but time.
I can put my
Yeah.
legs behind my head.
I thought they were glued to the ground, Triv.
That's a talent.
Yeah, that's a talent.
I can dig it.
But today's episode, once again, Seventh is made up of phantoms. It's an episode that's directed by Alan Crossland Jr. again. I think he's done a few episodes recently. At least he did one episode. Old Man in the Cave, which Jacob didn't like, I think, or someone didn't like. Someone in the group didn't like it.
I liked Old Man in the Cave.
Yeah, I did too.
Well, who was it that didn't like it? So maybe we
How about that
maybe I'm
damn
thinking of a
Alex?
different episode. Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't Alex. Well, no, that was
It was Rob.
Rob was on.
Rob.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Old
Rob
Man
was in
Rob.
the cave. Yeah.
He was dressed up as the
Um,
cave.
But this episode is written by Rod Serling. The production code 2606. Air date December 6th, 1963. Stars Ron Foster, Randy Boone, and Warren Oates, as well as Greg Morris. Warren Oates, classic actor, of course. I think he was in was he in Dillinger?
Yes.
He was in one of those
Yes,
gangster
he was,
movies.
he was in the Dillinger for American International.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But people might know him notoriously from Stripes. He played the
That's-
commander in Stripes amazingly.
Sergeant Hulka. Yep.
Yeah, Sergeant Hawker, Big Toe. As Triv alluded to, this episode is very similar to 100 Yards Over the Rim or The Last Flight, where it's about a group of individuals who find themselves, I don't know if they really find themselves, they become, well, at least one of them becomes obsessed with Colonel, I almost said Colonel Mustard, who
Yeah,
becomes
the
obsessed,
Colonel Mustard.
right? Who
In the
becomes obsessed
library
with
with the
George
candlestick holder.
Yeah.
with the canteen on the hill or in the teepee. But he gets obsessed with Little Big Horn
Custer.
and General Custer, and there was another guy they mentioned, Reno. Is it Reno?
Yeah,
Ben
Yeah,
T?
Marcus Reno.
Remo Williams.
Yes.
Yeah, no, shut up.
R.I.P.
Yes.
R.I.P. Fred Willard.
Exactly.
Remo Williams is
Man.
awesome.
While we're here, Kurt, what do you think of Remo Williams?
I like Remo Williams.
Yay.
Nick.
Wait, hold on a
You son of
second.
a bitch.
Where's my mute button? Um,
Nick.
I fell asleep
disparages
watching
Remo
Remo Williams, so I'm bored by it. Even though they claim it's our national movie of the podcast
Oh, yeah, it is a national movie. It's a treasure.
of our podcast. Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Yes, we did. We made that. That happened. It was
Yes.
approved.
I'm
You
sure it
weren't here.
did.
Sorry about your luck.
Yep.
Exactly.
You snooze,
but-
you lose.
Oh,
You were
Jesus.
you were out that week. You're getting like hemorrhoids removed or something. I don't know.
But the Jesus Christ. But the episode is as Kurt has alluded to before we start recording, it is a little bit of a history lesson of who Colonel
Little bit.
Custer,
Colonel
of
Mustard.
George Custer, Colonel
Custer.
Custer Mustard.
Custer's Revenge. Yeah. And the Battle of Little Bighorn. There is some interesting stuff in here, but I'm just gonna say it right now. I was really bored by this episode, and maybe it's my wanting something to happen and it didn't feel like much happened, and feeling that I felt like I felt this episode was going to go in the route of like they transport back in time, but it doesn't do that for most of the episode. So it was like then they go back to their camp, and it's just like outside the canteen and the Indian teepee and stuff like that. It doesn't really do much for me personally
Teepee.
on a level, but I might be the single soul person in that feeling because I know Triv, you watched this with me again,
Yes.
and you didn't hate this episode as much as I did, so I think it might be the outlier. But
Hated
well,
it?
I mean,
Hate's a strong word, Nick.
Hate is a strong
Well, you
word when
know,
it comes to this.
I gotta hate something every once in a while. Not everything can be Jezebel or something like that. But Kurt,
Hate leads
I'm
to
gonna
the
go
dark
to you.
side.
Yep.
Fear leads to hate. Hate leads to the
Hate leads
dark
to
side.
anger.
Hate
Yeah,
leads to
Yeah.
Colonel Custer Muster.
exactly.
Yeah.
But Kurt, as our guest host coming onto this podcast of the Seventh is Made Up of Phantoms, what is it about this episode? Because you've already mentioned that you like this episode. What is it about that you like?
I'm a huge history nerd.
Hmm.
That's one of the reasons. I also like it when a bunch of colonists get slaughtered by Native Americans
There you
for
go.
trying to settle the West.
You should
So it
watch
kinda,
Horizon.
yeah. So it
Bone
kind of
Tomahawk.
so it kind of appeals to me a little bit. I also like again Warren Oates is just I like Warren Oates and a lot of things.
Mm.
Obviously Stripes, but like one of the ones I just watched recently was a movie called Blue Thunder, which he was really good in, which is his last movie he made before he died.
Yeah.
He was a really good actor. Also the weirdest thing I know is that the one was it Randy Boone is Pat Boone's cousin. Which
Really?
if you don't know who Pat Boone is, the Christian singer
Interesting.
who is like the personification of white bread.
He's the third cousin, second removed from his mother from Daniel Boone.
I don't know. It's just such a
Where
it
does he
had
go
a
with it?
great
Sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah.
It had such a great I like the ending of it too because it's like I wish it did explain a little bit more like what happened with them when they were like why they were transported back to the Battle of the Little Bighorn, but
It feels
the
like
ending
a.
of
Oh,
sorry,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna
Go
say it
ahead.
feels like it feels like an episode that didn't have a big budget, so they couldn't do a
Yeah.
lot. But I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
They went over the
but,
rim like in that one episode?
Yeah.
Or over the hill.
That was 100 yards over the rim.
Yeah, over the rim.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Same
Yeah,
phenomenon.
but I like the ending of it where you just it doesn't explain anything, but like you see like the commander and the MPs like looking for them or where they've like left the tank or whatever, and it's just you see the monument that they erected for Custer and the 7th Cavalry at Little Bighorn, and you see the names, and it's like they whited the names so you could see who they were, what they were, and I kind of like that ending. It's just a little
Is that a real
twist
monument?
ending. Yes, that's the real. But I mean, I imagine it was a fake, but they actually do have a real monument at the site of the Battle of the Little Bighorn in South Dakota.
Like, are those
And
names actually from it?
Mhm. Yep, yeah,
So like those
I believe
three
so.
soldiers are actually that's neat.
Yeah, but yeah, that's yeah. Again, also I love has nothing to do with the episode because this Native American person wasn't in the episode or mentioned at all. But one of the commanders of the natives was named Lame White Man.
What?
That's kind of awesome.
That
His
is
name
kind
was
of
White Man.
hilarious. Lame White Man.
Oh, lame white man.
Yeah, he was also killed at the Battle of the Little Bighorn on June 25th, 1780 or
Oh,
1876.
so it's a real guy. Like that's an actual
It's a
real
real guy.
person.
That's a real guy.
That's
He was
kinda
the only.
awesome.
He was the only one of the commanders of the natives of the Arafo, the Northern Cheyenne, the Dakota, and the Lakota that was killed that day because it was Sitting Bull, Crazy Horse, Two Moons, Chief Gall,
Lame white
GALL,
man.
Lame White Man. Yeah, what's your name? Lame White Man.
Where did his
I'm
parents
just-
come up with that though? I mean, I kind of get an idea where they came
Probably
up with it. but-
probably saw some guy who was doing Manifest Destiny who's just a lame white man.
Otherwise, it could have
Yeah.
been
Like,
literally
look at
like
that lame
lame where
white
he
man.
couldn't walk straight, so he just like
Yeah,
lame
write
white
that
man.
one down.
He's a little gimpy.
He saw three guys in a tank on the top of the hill. He's like, look at them lame white men.
yeah,
Hey, that's a
That
good
does
comparison.
make you wonder:
The
did they
night
have to
bef-
double park the vehicle or double park the tank?
But
Yeah,
Oh, I also
I don't
know why.
know.
I also just remember why I like this episode. It has nothing to
that?
do with. There wasn't like a theme to it, but like in hindsight, it seems like the perfect allegory because when you think about the Battle of the Little Bighorn, the 7th Cavalry was outnumbered. They had around 700 cavalrymen and scouts, and the natives had about anywhere from 1,100 to 2,500 warriors. Think about the year the episode was released, 1963, about when the U.S. was about ready to enter Vietnam. And in hindsight, it's like this. Seems like this kind of weird hubris thing about, oh, we can, we can take these people. Well, no, you can't. You can't take these people. This is their land. They will find a way to not to combat you and to not let you take their land, which unfortunately they ultimately did. But that I like that. I like that aspect of it, even though it's not really like a theme of it. But that's kind of what went through my head when I first saw this episode a long time ago, and came back to me when I watched it the other day, thinking about it in hindsight.
Nick, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
You're muted.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Jacob didn't remind me that I was muted.
I
Damn
was
you,
doing
Jacob.
something. We were talking about, I'm still in the name thing. I'm sorry.
Was there anything else more you wanted to say on the episode that you thought was good about it?
New other stuff might come as we talk about it though too.
I just like the fact that they still got killed even though they have modern weapon, or at the time was modern weaponry.
All they had was what? Each of them had
They had those
They
carbine
had pistols
rifles
and
that
they had a tank, but they left the tank behind.
Yeah, they left the tanks, but
I think a couple of them had a rifle. I don't think Warren Oates had a rifle, but one
he
of
had
them
a
had
rifle. It was like a
rifle.
rifle and like 2 pistols, or maybe 2 rifles. I don't know.
Hey, you could do that with a 9
Yeah, you
mil.
probably did pretty good. But how many Indians were there?
Anywhere between 1,100 and 2,500.
They're probably running short on ammunition.
Yeah, it's I wish
It's also like a good lesson about hubris too, because when you think about George Custer and the fact that he was like, oh, we could take the natives, like, oh yeah, well, again, we have the glory of hindsight, and the 7th Cavalry's lack of hubris and thinking that they could take on that range of Native American warriors, and obviously not, because a bunch of them got killed.
Yeah. Well, now that we got Kurt's thoughts, should we do the opening narration?
Ooh,
well, no, let's go to you guys.
It's way too early.
I'm sorry. That's right. We're not an hour in.
We got to be like right before the closing narration before we do that.
Right?
Madness.
No.
Is madness.
What about you guys? Like, what do you think of the episode in general? Just like how it plays, how it feels. I think I'm on one side of the spectrum. I think Kurt is on another side. So where do you guys go?
I kind of feel like this one the way I did last week. It's not like the worst thing ever. It has an interesting premise, but it's a premise that we've seen before. Like you said, we saw it in 100 Yards Over the Rim. We saw it in The Last Flight. There is this one definitely gets you more into a historic event, which is certainly a different path. And the way that they like, oh, it's not a real thing. Oh, it's a real thing. Holy crap, what are we gonna do? And then they make a decision to try and alter the way history was. And ultimately they took their part and they went from there. So it had moments. It took so long for it to get where it was going. Like, I think if you started it a little bit before the midway and kind of moved everything forward, it might have been a little bit better, but I'm not sure what I would have added. That's the thing. Like, given budget and everything, I don't think you would have been able to do it justice.
It's like,
Oh,
Okay, so there's things I liked. There's things I didn't. There's nothing I really disliked. It's just kind of like overall, it drug and it seemed kind of, I want to say messy. It wasn't messy. It was kind of aimless for part of it, for a good portion of it. But there were little things, there were parts of it that I really liked that kept me there. I'm with Triv, I think, where I didn't hate it or anything, but it's far from one of my favorites. I don't think it's great. I do agree with Triv greatly that I think the aimless part comes from it just like not a lot was happening. And I know you got to build up to the suspense in the story and all that and what's going on, but I would have liked, she referenced 100 yards over the rim. Yeah.
Yep.
I think what worked, because I remember liking that one. I don't think it was amazing, but it was interesting. And I think what was interesting about that was it kind of you had an interaction between the guy from whenever what was it, 1876 or whatever, I don't know what it was, and the people of 1964 or whatever it was. They had at least that interaction where he went to was it like a diner or something like that? I don't know, whatever. That was what made that interesting. It's like how he was not sure where he was, they were not sure who he was and what was going on. I liked that. And we didn't get that here. They just saw teepees. They heard things, but they never saw anything. And I didn't expect them to show like the battle, because that would have cost a lot of money. But maybe if they had interacted, I don't think they should have interacted necessarily with the Native Americans, because that probably would have ended one way and one way only. But like maybe if they met with those soldiers from the beginning and just I think that would have made it a little bit more interesting at some point. I don't know how or where. I haven't given it that much thought, but there was just, I don't know. It seemed like something was missing in that regard to me. Though I really liked Warren Oates in this. He was the audience through and through, and he was the voice of reason. I thought that the other two guys accepted what was going on way too easily. They're just like, well, of course it's this. And Warren Oates was like they'd say something, he was just like, "No, man." I mean, even with the man and everything, he just seemed like some like old hippie who was like, "No, man, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. Hell no, no, no. This is some bullshit." I really liked his attitude and how he was like the most real person out of all of them. And he was just like, "No, I'm in the friggin' National Guard, dude. We're just doing like a little drill here. I'm going back to work, you know." I do this 2 weeks out of the year, every other weekend or whatever, you know. And I enjoyed him whenever he was on the screen. I liked his reaction to what was going on. I thought the reveal or the twist in the end was kind of
it's a very Twilight Zone basic twist where
but
it's
when
one
you
of those
start to
things
think
where
about it, there were things, you know. Yeah, I'm with you. It was a very Twilight Zone-y ending. And as it like showed the memorial and you saw the names, I was like, they're gonna see their name. I didn't see it coming before that, but when it showed that, I was like, they're gonna see their names. And that's when the guy said, "Hey, look, there's the names." But like, how did they get those names? I'm sure they had dog tags, but wouldn't somebody, when they were like searching through all the bodies, be like, why do these dog tags look so different from everybody? Because I think at that point, dog tags, if they had them, they were like just like circle discs or something.
Right.
They look nothing like the dog tags these guys would have had. What they were wearing looked nothing. I mean, like the stitch, how they were made, clothes just weren't made that way then because they were probably manufactured. And back then they were all homemade and everything. I feel like we would have already heard about these people in history, about like the mystery three soldiers or something like that, or something. I don't know.
Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers or something like that.
Right.
Or
Well,
yes,
and honestly though, you have to think too, like time travel in Twilight Zone is always kind of a double-edged sword. You can do really cool stuff, but they didn't have and not that they do it well now. There's a lot of rules that make no sense. I mean,
You gotta have a
Marvel Universe, look at that.
suspend disbelief to a degree.
Right, but I still think that it's, you have to keep in mind, MST3K, repeat to yourself, it's just a show.
Sure.
But there is that thing about like the rules that you establish, or okay, they disappeared off into the distance 2 seconds ago. Now they're appearing on this sign. There's a lot of stuff between here and there. And just it tends to get messy when you're talking Twilight Zone time travel.
And I mean, honestly, that's a small nitpick because, like, I get it. They only have so much time to explain away this thing, and when it comes to time travel and how it works, if you go into explaining too much, it can ruin it. Sometimes you should just leave it vague. So it's Twilight Zone, They got 30 more minutes.
That just took me a second. I'm such a dork tonight. Oh my God.
I get it. Like that part didn't really throw me that much. It was mainly just because it seemed a lot of the episode just seemed kind of aimless, and I just wish they had at least one interaction with some people from the past.
Yeah, because really the only time that we see Custer's troops
The very
is
beginning.
the very beginning, yeah.
And then there's
Which
the
I think was
incident
supposed
with
to
the
kind of
Native
be
American writer.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I think they were supposed to kind of be like there's supposed to be some type of duality between those three guys and them, or maybe I don't know. Because remember the one guy got shot with an arrow, their guy got shot with an arrow.
Yeah, he's like, "Message for you, sir." Oh,
how many of you saw that coming? I mean, I don't want to spoil it yet, but when he was walking up,
me.
I just knew when he was walking up, the way he was walking, I was like, he's got, he took an arrow to the knee. He's gonna fall down.
He should have let out a Wilhelm scream.
That was missing. That would have made everything better. But this was pre-Willem, wasn't it?
No, Williams like from
No.
the
50s.
yeah, Williams like real old.
Uh,
Yeah.
50s,
Yeah.
I think.
Like 53,
Yeah.
I think.
Never mind.
Actually,
I
doesn't it go
rescind.
farther back than that? I heard like didn't it go
Um,
farther back than that? I think.
I don't have my
I
phone
think
on
it
me,
was
so I can't
50.
look at Wikipedia.
No, it's good. I can look. Well, if I can spell.
It was 1951.
Was
Oh.
Distant
so
drums.
the Distant drums, that's
yeah.
right.
I thought it was the 50s. I thought it was later 50s. though.
See, I wouldn't have minded if they. I think what they were trying to do is one, save a lot of money because you know the Twilight Zone is not a cheap show. Like it
No.
definitely puts a lot of money, but they also find ways to save money. And I think if you use like B-roll, I think maybe it would have been a little weird, kind of creepy.
Oh, to just
in a lot of
look showing
respects.
people like charging and them going.
Yeah,
getting shot
yeah.
and
And
going,
then like
"Ah."
the thing that kind of bothered me the most is, and this is kind of stupid, but when they walk towards the camera, they kind of stop before walking. Because you know how like when they do like the shot where the people walk towards the camera and everything goes black, you can actually see them stop before, like instead of going like stopping like an edit, it feels like they
should've cut
forgot
it
to
back
edit.
a few frames.
Yeah, yeah, and that's always like that's my nitpicking thing and stuff like that. But once again, the ending's cool. The idea of like, as you know, Kurt, as you've alluded to, the information about Custer and the idea of Little Big Horn and is all really interesting. And I'm sure Rod Serling was a huge fan, and not really a huge fan, but he loved that kind of stuff. And you know,
Yeah.
being a war vet, and you mentioned something about which war was it that was upcoming or was close or been going
Vietnam.
on?
Vietnam.
Yeah. 'cause
Vietnam,
this-
yeah, yeah.
60. This is 63. So yeah, like the next year. Because this is literally this is what like this episode airs like what 2 or 3 weeks after Kennedy is killed.
Yeah, we entered
So,
in 64, right?
Yeah, 64 is when the advisors landed in Saigon, and then by the mid 60s, like 1966, it's full blown war. So yeah, that's it's I don't think he had this understand well, because I don't think anybody had an understanding of what was going to happen in the later
Mhm.
half of the latter half of the 1960s. But we are always at some point in our history, we are always going to get in an armed conflict with somebody that we shouldn't be.
Yeah,
Every 10 years.
yeah.
Every
We can't go 10 years
year.
without being in a conflict.
Yeah.
True.
Well, at this point, we can't go a year without being in a conflict. We're always in a we always seem to be in a conflict, but
Well,
War,
everybody does.
War's a profitable business.
It is.
It is.
yeah,
And
Lord of War,
we
perfect
make a
movie
lot
to
of money
watch.
on it.
I don't know. It's once again, that's what I like about the Twilight Zone. Kurt, you could really love this episode. I could really hate it, and we'll still find some
better
common
enemies.
ground on it.
We're bitter enemies.
Yeah, well,
now.
we-
You like something and I
Well, they are
Yeah,
anyway
yeah.
because
Well, I
of
mean-
Chicago and
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
are a Cubs fan, so I have no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but no. In all
Don't
seriousness, like
believe
for
him,
instance,
They're going to fight to the death.
like for instance,
Round one,
I really
fight.
like Monsters doing Maple Street, and Jacob somewhat likes Perchance to Dream. It's just sometimes you gotta fight your battles, and sometimes you just gotta.
What is this revisionist history we got going on here?
Hey,
This
we're
is-
all about the
this is
revisionist
fake
history.
news.
Have you not seen
Americans, damn
the
it.
Star Wars prequel, the Star Wars prequel trilogy? We're all in revisionist history right now. We all think
That really
Avengers,
is. That was
Age of Ultron.
Star
is
Wars
great.
prequels we're not going to get into that anyway.
No.
But anyways, Jacob,
Yes,
it's been long enough. Let's do the opening narration. We've waited long
Never-
enough for your
never long enough.
sultry voice.
Let me read this opening narration off my new
New location.
My-
You're now
my new
moving
screen.
more than Alex.
screen that's kicked sideways now.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. I thought I'd try a new thing. Let's go.
That's a
Bring it in close. June 25th, 1964. Or, if you prefer, June 25th, 1876. The cast of characters in order of their appearance. A patrol of General Custer's cavalry and a patrol of National Guardsmen on a maneuver. Past and present are about to collide head on as they are wont to do in a very special bouva. Okay, this word messed me up one time already.
Bivouac.
Bivouac.
Yeah, bivouac. I really like that word. It messed me up last time, but anyway. As they are wont to do in a very bivouac area known as the Twilight Zone. Bivouac. I really need to, man, I need to get that into my vernacular. That is a word I want to throw out because I feel like a lot of people don't know what it is. I just want to say
There's
it.
like a
Watch
lot of
them act as
military
if they do.
terminology you could use in everyday life.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Most
I
people
love
do.
Yeah,
Most
like-
people use
words.
foobar and
You
Well,
throw
you know,
words out that
there's a
people
word
don't
that-
know, but they act like they don't want to say what is that. They're just like, oh, it's like you don't know what the fuck I just said.
Well, you know what's a good variation or it's a shortened version of bivouac that means the bathroom. You just say, "Oh, I gotta hit the biffy." That's apparently
biffy.
a corruption of bivouac.
I just say I got hit the head.
Also good.
it's also a
I gotta
military
get hit.
term.
Multifunctional there. You could be hitting other heads.
Giving
I hope
heads.
not.
Getting head.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Lots of head.
So
gotta
okay,
shoot a man
first
about
of
a mule.
all, oh my god. So the opening of this movie, or the opening of the movie, opening of this episode is three individuals who are part of the Custard. Is it Custard one of the characters, or is it just three individuals part of
No.
his? It's just three
No.
random individuals, troops.
Yeah.
Three of the
Patrol
If I-
phantoms.
General Custer's cavalry.
Okay. Yeah, okay, you're right. So they find this teepee. They realize Indians are around the Sioux tribe. And they speak some things, some dialogue that Rod Serling has written. And then they shoot off some guns, and all of a sudden it just like transports over to the three men who are in the middle of their training, their kind of patrol or whatever they're doing. And I was really, I don't know how you guys felt about this, but I was really confused at first about what was going on. It's like these three, like usually there is a way that they shoot this episode or these types of episodes
Yeah,
where
with
the transition is much more clear, but it just kind of goes from these three people part of the Custer
Seventh Cavalry.
cavalry, yeah, and then it goes to the National Guardsmen like within seconds. And I didn't know if because they mentioned something about seeing something, and then all of a sudden we see the National Guardsmen, and I was just like, do they see the National Guardsmen, or the National Guardsmen just there? I don't know what exactly was going on, but it was really confusing. I don't know if you guys felt the same way about that or not, if I'm just
It was
weird
a
and
jarring
crazy.
cut. Okay, did they cut to him or was it like a
They
whip?
cut. No, they
Okay,
cut.
yeah.
It was
to
a
him.
whip.
I just
Yeah, it was
remember
like
they
a
were just
whip
kinda
band,
like,
wasn't it?
I know
I
they
thought it
kind
was
of
a
like
cut, but-
looked over like they heard it and were like,
But
yes,
I guess
I
it,
was confused.
I guess it would have made more sense if they like it would just been the National Guardsmen. They like rolled up on their tank, and they saw do the typical Twilight Zone. For instance, the segment that the notorious segment in the movie where the racist guy goes out, he's all of a sudden in Germany and stuff like that. It would have been interesting to have that time jump and then kind of have them travel back in time, but it doesn't do that at all. It's just more of like a history lesson till we get to the very end where I think Connors,
Helicopter
whoever
falls
the
on him.
Yeah.
well that too, but no, where Connors is like going into his like diatribe about Custer and kind of the route they're taking and talking to their commander and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, Kurt, as the one who really liked this episode, did any of that bother you at all, or did you find like it was just kind of
The pacing kind of bothered me a little bit. It did feel a little meandering at times. That's I think that's probably be my biggest criticism of it. I think like to address like the explain how like I don't know if you could do an effect shot like the warbly kind of shot where it looks like you're they use like a warbly effect. Yeah, kind of like that effect where it would where it like when it cuts from the members of the 7th Cavalry to the National Guardsmen. But I think that could have helped the audience a little bit better. But yeah, I would have that's probably be my criticism of it, which just is just
I think it was intentional,
weird
though.
and yeah.
I think you're
Yeah, 'cause
supposed to
it
be a little
ca-
confused, like, wait, what's going on? I think it's supposed to get your attention and kind of keep you interested.
Yeah. I that does make a lot of sense. Yeah,
I don't know.
it is a very peculiar episode. Maybe that's why I like it because it's something that's out of left field.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. It's a very peculiar episode.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with liking it. We all have the episodes that we like that are good, and like ones that are gonna be considered classics versus the ones that are special to us specifically. So,
and
Crib
I'm
loves the
morally
most unusual
superior to
camera.
all you for liking this episode.
yeah, go for it. History.
I don't know. I mean, what about you guys? Like, did any, once again, it would have been interesting to like maybe have the General Custer's troops come in, and then Rod Serling speaks, and then he's like, coming soon or coming around the corner, you'll see 3 National Guardsmen come up and they hear a shot or something like that. I guess maybe my view of it is just I felt like it was kind of sloppy.
I think it could have been
It's
not
in-
as jarring, but still just as wait, what's going on? If instead it panned over and you saw him like the tank roll over the hill and stop, and then they got out and they're like, "Where are we at?" And like you still would have been like, "Wait a minute, they're modern day, well, of the '60s, and we were just seeing what's going on here?" But it wouldn't have been as jarring as just like pow pow up, and then these guys are sitting on a tank like over here, like you hear something?
Yeah, because I thought they were watching them or something. Like, I honestly, and this is just how I felt. I felt like it was almost gonna be like they were time travelers or something like that. They were watching this history battle, and they became obsessive with it. But really, it's just about the nature of how defeated this situation was of Little Bighorn and how Custer died and stuff like that. And it became like more of an obsession thing, kind of similar to like Static, or that the episode with his mom where he's like obsessed like with his mom or something like that. I can't remember which episode that
Oh
is.
yeah,
The house.
Where he turns into a kid.
Yeah.
But I think this does it a little bit better than that. It was just weird. Like, I just felt, going to the bivouac and the army camps and stuff like that, and never really
Bivouac.
like
Bivouac.
the big Twilight, the big Twilight Zone moment doesn't happen until they see the multiple teepees on the ground. They do see that canteen, which kind of disappears, and I don't know. I just felt it was weird.
So Kurt, since you like the historical ones, what's the one you guys with the guy Abraham Lincoln's not in it, but
Passerby.
is the past? No, not that one. The one
back
where
there.
he goes.
Oh yeah, back there.
He's like at the hotel, and the people
Yeah,
are
it's
going
back
to
there.
back there. Did you like that episode?
I haven't seen that one yet. There's
I
like
like
a
the
lot of
idea
Twilight.
behind
There's
it.
like a lot of Twilight Zone that's like gapped for me that I need to go back and watch like everything now.
I think you'd like that one.
Yeah.
Check that one out.
Probably.
It's like a similar premise. Actually, it's really similar to this one. It's a little bit more involved because like he's interacting with the people. It's got like it reeked of studio interference as far as like explaining what was going on, because the guy would just randomly proclaim things like in the ether, and you're like, why are you saying that just out loud like that? But I think it was always stuff to like exposition, not exposition, more getting the audience up to speed, exposition. But it didn't make any sense. But beyond that, I thought the idea was good. Anyway,
Yeah.
neither here nor there. Bivouac.
Do you guys think that it would have been better if Rod Serling had come on sooner?
He did take a while, didn't he?
He was
Like
6 minutes
7
in
minutes?
before
Yeah.
he came in. Yeah.
He's like a third of the way through the episode before he
Yeah.
came on.
Now for the commercial
Recorder.
break.
Yeah,
Exactly.
maybe he was trying to get off cigarettes, and it just like after a while, he just couldn't do it.
You shut your mouth. Rod Serling would never do such a thing.
That's really from Viceroy.
He was.
I mean,
buried
not
in
unless
the
we're
ring.
talking about the smoothest taste.
Oh, yeah.
It's true.
Lotar.
I almost feel like this episode, I almost kind of feel as ambivalent to it as the King 9 Will Not Return, where it has an interesting idea and the ending's interesting, but just the stuff in between is kind of, once again,
This ending
it's
makes
interesting
sense.
to hear about. What's up?
So this ending makes sense. King 9 ending was dumb.
Well, no, I mean, it was dumb, but it's going for the same look and feel when it comes to just the nature of how it gets to where it gets to the end, where, oh, look, the person is, they're doing the Wayne's World thing, walking through the desert or whatever, and they find
Got sand in
sand.
his shoe.
Exactly. The butt naked Indian or whatever. And, but this episode kind of does something similar where it's like a lot of exposition, a lot of talking, and then it gets to the kind of the interesting conclusion where, once Warren Oates, who we can all agree is probably the best part about the episode, it's interesting because he's like the audience where he's like trying to tell the guy just to shut up and stop talking, but
Yeah.
he finally he's like the guy that like doesn't believe until he finds something that makes him believe. He's like, gets on the ground and like looks up to the sky. He's like, oh, it's a miracle that we see multiple TPs, and they finally give in, and
I did
the
like
guy
that
gets
about him.
shot with it.
He was
Yeah.
just kind of like, I don't believe it. No, fuck this. This is stupid. You're crazy. And then when he's faced with it there at the end, and it's finally like, okay, you can't deny this. He's like, all right, fuck it, let's go, guys. He's just let's do this thing.
Yeah, he does they do the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, where you know something bad's happened to him, but you don't find out really till the end. So
So Nick's view is that it's just a bunch of talking.
well, I mean, it's a
What this
yeah, it's Rod
episode
Serling's
needed was explosions.
Oh.
Yep, he's our resident expert in that respect.
Yeah, it needed more manly exposition. We are soldiers, we fight war. Rah. No, like I said,
Yeah.
I appreciate what they're going for at least.
Yeah.
It needed more Remo.
Well, that's everything needs more Remo.
Everything needs more Remo.
Yeah. Including Nick's shirt.
Nick
Yeah,
hates that I do
exactly.
this because it makes editing a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
No. Sometimes I have to like edit down like when we get like way too long in a conversation because I'm like
sometimes.
Sometimes. I didn't realize Warren Oates died in 1982. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing compared to Hall and Oates.
Yeah.
Trib with her jokes.
Yeah. You gotta add something.
I don't. It's
my only line.
Oh my god. So the other thing about this episode is guy gets shot with an arrow in the back and survives somehow and survives fine. He's fine, which is really weird because I'm pretty sure. I guess if he's like Boromir, maybe he survives. Multiple arrows to the. But he's a small, skinny guy. I don't think he's gonna survive being shot in the back with an arrow. Maybe it's just me. Maybe he's like, I can survive to die in a bighorn. I don't know.
He could be. He used to be an adventurer until he took an arrow in the back.
Yeah. He used to call dragons and stuff like that, but I don't know. Kurt, help me out here. Help me make this episode feel better. I feel like I'm so down on this.
That's the only thing I can try to make you feel better with War Notes. Try to replace his character in this with his character from 1941, where he's just the gung ho like Air Force commander.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
he was in that.
Gun firings. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the guy who gets captured, right?
Oh no, that's Belushi. Belushi gets captured in 1941.
Yeah. I haven't seen that in forever.
I haven't either.
Good idea, but I didn't think this episode was terrible though. But once again, I just had some issues with it. But Warren Oates, whenever he was on screen, man, he made it. I just loved his reactions to everything. He made everything. He was the most real. Everybody else seemed like they were acting. He seemed like he was just there.
Yeah, it's you know what sucks about talking about this episode is there's not like a huge amount of stuff to talk about on it, but
aimless.
Yeah, no, it's like it feels like the most of the stuff is just the army or the National Guard trying to keep their guys in check, and these three guys decide they're not going to listen to their commanding officer, and then one guy is just going to go off on a history lesson about
I liked him too.
The guy about doing the history lesson.
No, the commanding officer. The
But
guy
he doesn't really do much. He's more just like scene chewing. Doesn't really do much.
He's not in it a lot, but when he's on there, he's like, "Have you seen these guys?" They're like, "No." He's like, "Okay, well, I want you to find them and tell them this." Like whenever he was on screen, he was pretty entertaining too. Which quite honestly, he may not have been that entertaining, but everything else in it, and this is going to sound real harsh, but everything else in it was so kind of like dragging that when we got a little bit of something, it made it all that much better.
I mean, you get go ahead.
The one thing that this episode had was a lot of fun verbiage.
Yeah.
Like britches full of them, whatever they were talking about. They couldn't navigate a plow across a ballroom. Separate the men from the nutsies. Not Nazis, nutsies.
Nutsies.
You nutsy spy.
That's right. Y'all are nutsies.
That is a term that could be used even today.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Says
I mean, it's
in the
not,
trivia.
it's not someone saying that you could screw up a wet dream, but it's, a close second.
It was the 60s TV, true.
Yes, I know. Fine, piss into the
So-
wind.
So apparently, Captain William Beanteen, who's mentioned several times, previously served as the namesake of James Whitmore's character on Thursday We Leave for Home. And near the end of the episode, Corporal Langsford states he knows it's all a mirage. At that point, at about his left cheek, a white vehicle is quickly seen in the far background going right to left.
Yeah,
and then
I saw
Yeah,
that.
I noticed that too.
Is that so? I'm guessing it's a mistake more than trivia.
It's just like a car in the background on
Yeah,
like
it's
some
just
road.
kind of.
It was out
yeah, I
of
was gonna
focus,
say-
but you saw it clear as day.
Yeah, because they're shooting against obviously shooting against like the
it was a
the
highway.
grassy background. It's kind of a darker background. And you can see this car is as white as a ghost.
Yeah, just like it stands out. Like but I saw it and I was like, oh, that I don't think that's supposed to be there. I think they're supposed to be out in the middle of nowhere. But it would make sense. I mean, because that at that point wasn't it still modern day when that happened?
I don't.
I think they were
Most
probably
of it
supposed to be
was,
a bit
yeah.
further out into like
Might have
the
been.
dunes and stuff. But I mean, it would make sense that those, things have been
So
Depending if
road
Avatar
are
is-
they-
in space.
whatever they call it.
Are they in modern day till they get to the massive camp of the TP, the Indian Tiki
They're
Sioux
going back and
TP
forth.
camp?
I
Are they?
think It'd have
I
to
think-
be.
Like
Or at least maybe, like,
the time change
hearing-
is so weird.
Yeah, it's jarring.
Because they see teepees twice, don't they?
Yeah,
Yes.
they do.
Yeah, they
like,
see the one that
the one they come across
yeah.
it, and then they see the Indian village.
Yeah.
Towards
With
the end of the episode.
nobody's there.
Yeah, it's a-
Yeah,
Nobody
'cause
walking
what-
around.
it's like the canteen that they find, and it just kind of disappears. So
Well, they take it back
I
to-
was,
Oh no, they don't. He
but
tries-
it's gone.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it disappears. It just kind of is out of the episode. And once again, I think if they had done a Last Flight or any of those episodes in the Twilight Zone that they've done where it kind of transports them back, 30 100 yards over the rim or something like that, I think it would have been much more interesting if they had like come across some Sioux Indian tribe members. But I don't know if Rod Serling in the 1960s were willing to have that kind of continuity and that kind of progressive nature because of this fact that it was in the 1960s and they could barely get African American people in their TV
Well,
Yeah, it
shows.
sounds like
let along
probably something CBS
Sweet.
probably something he wanted in the episode since he was a pretty progressive kind of person, and probably CBS said
yeah.
no.
Seeing as
Yeah.
how
Well, that's the thing.
both sides
Yeah.
are gearing up for war, I don't know if 3 white dudes showing up to an Indian village that was about to go to war with an army of white dudes probably wouldn't have gone over so well within the story.
Yeah, within this
Yeah.
within the time frame. Yeah.
They probably would have seen him and just tomahawk or arrow or whatever.
Additionally, just the fact that, I mean, even if you take away race from it, like the way they were dressed, like you talked about, Jake, it's not something that you're
Yeah.
already on edge. And these random people in weird attire show up with
Spacemen.
strange weapons. What the hell?
Well, that's the thing that kind of it does bother me a little bit with the nature of the Twilight Zone in general, because they'll hold back on an episode like this, but then they'll do stuff like let me look it up just so I don't get the name wrong, sound racist. Where's the episode?
Lame White
guys,
Man?
wait no. They'll do stuff like I Am the Night, Color Me Black, which deals with racism and deals with like I think it's like the execution of a black person, African American person, and they'll do other episodes, but when they do this, it's like they're almost afraid that they're going to upset the viewers. It's a really weird kind of strange take. I don't know if Ross Serling was kind of put in a predicament where he only could go so far, but it feels like they're less afraid of like putting an episode out about a man, like what was the one about the boxer? I can't remember the name of it.
Oh,
Oh,
it was all black cast.
yeah. But like this episode, I don't know. I just find it weird. That's why I kind of just not really a big fan of this episode, because it skirts around a lot of stuff. It goes into like a lot of history, but then it just doesn't really approach. Maybe they were worried, and maybe it would look racist today if you got some Indian people in Indian garb or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm just
In the
not
early
reading it right.
60s.
I don't think you would have
No,
had
I
that
don't-
issue.
I don't think that's why they wouldn't have. I think they were more Like as far as like putting other ethnicities on screen, I think it was more of a, is that going to sell? I think that was their
Yeah,
viewpoint.
Well-
Is this going to sell to our viewership? Probably. I mean, in their eyes, probably not at that point.
I guess Indians and Cowboys wasn't really as big. Now it's more like the
No,
space
'cause-
age, space race.
Yeah,
In
because
the
like the
60s?
Cowboys and Indians phase were like they're like the 1950s.
Well, there was
Yeah,
still a
like-
lot of
still
people doing it in
around.
the 60s. Yeah.
Cowboy,
But it was
spaghetti. It was more spaghetti westerns at that point.
Yeah,
It was
but
getting
I
there.
think like
Less
I
Indians.
think like more like the playful kind of like
Yeah.
not really playful, but like the
Traditional
because
Cowboys.
that
and Indians.
yeah, the traditional type of stuff was kind of probably seen as passe at that point because
Yeah.
because the 1960s, this is 1963, this is the height of the space race.
Yeah.
But it was all sci-fi
So-
and spaghetti westerns.
yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
honestly,
you
with-
look at like Butch Cassidy
Rough
and
and
stuff
raw
like that.
and
Is
broody.
yeah.
Very gritty stuff.
Well, I would add too, I think to some extent, it's easy to add our spin on things like, a 2024 perspective on a 1964 thing. Not saying that, I mean, that's how we analyze, that's where we start and then we go back from there. But I think it's easy to like look at this episode and go, oh, well, it's it's this or it's that. And maybe it's just a bad episode, or maybe it's just an episode that lacked funds, or maybe the script wasn't quite right. Maybe they had less time to put it together. Name your reason. I understand where you're going, Nick, but I think it could have. I mean, maybe it was that, but it could have been tons of stuff, stated or unstated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I always look into this more deeply than I probably should, but
Oh, and that's not
It's
bad.
just-
It's
it's always
important.
interesting,
That's
like,
critical thinking.
well, no, I know. And like once again, if they had as much as I hate stock footage, if they had added a little bit of stock footage of like a battle between Native Americans and white Americans or whatever, I think that would have made a much more effective ending. But once again, the ending is just them walking towards the camera with their guns taken out, and then it switches straight over to the Twilight Zone ending where we find out that their names are on the monument, which once again, you can't think about it too deeply, as Jacob was alluded to, with like how did they get these guys' names. I could understand if like they had like one name of like blah blah blah, but they would also be I think Jacob, you said this too, wouldn't they be like a little weirded out by the fact that they have different uniforms, they have they didn't have the tank. I guess the tank was left behind, but they have different guns. They have guns compared to like the guns are much more modern with less, because the guns they had back in the day, they had to load, it took forever to load. And it's a lot of conveniences that they kind of skirt around because, once again, we only have 24 minutes, but it's still a cool ending. It's still an interesting ending. It still deals with like, oh my God, these guys' names, like I said, we've seen it in the Twilight Zone and seen it on other things before. Oh my God, the names are there. They're on the, it's like in The Shining when you see, Jack in the picture. It's like, oh my God, like that's kind of cool. And, once again, I may not like the episode, but I appreciate the attempt to create a really kind of interesting ending to, oh my God, they were there and blah, blah, blah. And, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think
I
you got a
concur.
good middle ground there. And it is that it's that. I mean, we've covered it. We've kind of come back around to it, come from it from different directions, but I think we all come back to kind of the same general premise. There are good things about this episode, but for some of us, it's kind of a mixed bag based on that. The history is cool, the idea is cool, the execution is kind of lacking.
Yeah.
Yep. That is my opinion. It's just, I mean, like I said, I mean, I've already said this, broken record. I like the ending. I thought the ending was kind of neat. It wasn't like mind blowing, but I was like, oh, that's neat. And I think it's even neater that when Kurt informed me that those are actually the names, those names are actually on the monument in real life. I think that's neat. They took the time to go and like find real names and make the story around it. Not a big deal, but it's just kind of neat. But it's the middle part, like that whole the whole middle part of the episode was just it just seemed kind of aimless. Like, okay, we got it fairly quick that this is their kind of like stepping in and out of time, and then it just kind of, it's like they're biding time to get to that ending reveal. It's like that somebody had a cool idea that they wrote, like they're napkin short synopsis of the story was, oh, some people that go back and forth and they get stuck there, and then their name shows up on that was their big thing. Oh, their name shows up on the monument in the end when they're looking for them. And they're like, okay, let's write something around that. The rest of it didn't seem as well thought out as that ending to me.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I think,
Yeah.
and I guess for me, like when they said it was Custard's last stand, I kind of felt like, okay, these three guys, one way, shape, or form, are going to end up in the battle. You know, they're trained soldiers. They've been talking about Custer. They're gonna see what they can do to kind of change history or be part of the battle.
But with that said, I mean, is there anything else you guys want to talk about on the episode? I know there's not a
It's
whole
like 1
lot
o'clock
to
in the
mention.
morning. I got nothing.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Jacob. Let's help with the closing narration.
Really? Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's pretty much. I guess nobody really has anything else to say. So
I mean, the tank was
It's-
cool. It was cool to see
Yeah.
a tank from the 60s
An
doing its
M1
biz.
It's
never
an M1
moved.
Abrams. An M1 Abrams. Those things were in service for a long time, and there's a reason why. Those were bad mothers.
Yeah.
Did we ever see it move? We never saw it move, did we? It
No,
was
we
always
did.
parked.
A couple
Yeah.
times.
It did?
They
Yeah.
drive it a couple times.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I remember him like hanging out on it, having it parked.
They were
Anyway.
trying to look cool.
Yeah, they
Like,
did.
always
It
a
looked cool. It was
cool
all like
Abrams.
Fury. Sergeant William Connors, Trooper Michael McCluskey, and Trooper Richard Langsford, who, on a hot afternoon in June, made a charge over a hill and never returned. Look for this one under P for Phantom, in a historical ledger located in a reading room known as the Twilight Zone.
all right, good times. So they're
Is
now in
this
the
gonna be, like,
Twilight
our
Zone.
shortest episode ever.
And not every episode can be amazing. Well, it'll be good. We've got Kurt on. He's good people. He kicks ass and takes names.
Yeah,
We
hopefully
learned shit.
the next episode I come back on, the stopover in a small town, will, because there's more to that episode than I think
Right.
than this one was.
I mean, truly, and
Yeah.
I say this honestly, it's not a bad episode. It's a very simple premise. It's one of those that honestly, it should have been like not. We always have this conversation, longer, shorter, all the rest. This one genuinely should have probably been 15 minutes tops.
I think that would have
Could
worked
have
better.
been.
Yeah.
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 Just because they do a lot of, it's like they do the Two Towers thing. They spend a lot of time walking. And again, no shade on the episode. The premise is good. It's just there's bits that,
Yeah. All right. So with that said, the next segment is the Twilight Zone ranking list. All right. So where the hell are we gonna put this thing?
Number
Trib,
3.
where was it on? Where was it on Pace Magazine?
Pace
And,
had it at 134, and IMDb had it at 116. Give me a second here. I can tell you why. So Pace had it at 134 because, according to this, another accidental time travel episode is about a 3-man National Guard unit that find themselves in the middle of the Battle of Bighorn. Sadly, the premise doesn't come with a thematic exploration of what it means to be a soldier in the heat of battle, and the ending is more of an expected eventuality than an effective plot twist.
Let's see. Where do we go?
Like I say, IMDb had it at 116, so it is a slightly better placing of it.
Here's where I'll start. 83 is the last flight. Kurt, do you remember that episode at all? Or have you ever seen that one? It's the one with the
Vaguely. It's been a long time since I've seen. No. I just saw it recently. I watched it at my buddy's house. Yeah, I've seen that one
World War
recently.
One pilot.
The World War One pilot that goes, yep, yeah. I've seen that one recently.
Do you feel this is better or worse than that episode?
Worse, honestly. I like that one better than I like this one.
So I'm gonna say
Bet you
something
guys.
that's probably
Let's say
controversial.
88.
Ooh, controversy.
88. No, I'm gonna say closer to like Young Man's Fancy. Closer to 100.
I mean, there's a kind of stopwatch, which I do.
Of late, I think of Cliffordville. Alex would be up in arms.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't like this episode much either. That's the
Ooh,
thing.
What number did you say?
I said 100.
Okay, I see the passerby. I did not like the passerby more than this. The other ones I'm kind of like, whatever. Passerby,
I mean, I
I-
would put this between a kind of stopwatch and of late, I think of Cliffordville.
So
Then
more
again,
kind of
there's late-
96, 97.
Yeah, there's like Late Night of the Jockey though. You guys like that episodes more than I did, so
Well, it's a relative thing. I
I-
mean,
I like the technical aspects of that episode. I actually remember saying I didn't care for the episode a ton. The second half was entertaining just from a technical standpoint.
yeah, they did a good job with the size stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, 103 is King 9. So if we're comparing sort of similar premises, like I'm not trying to push this one down further, but it kind of feels more like the place to start with that.
I liked King Nine's body of the story more than this one, but I like the ending of this one better than King Nine's. King Nine's ending was dumb.
It was different.
That's one way. of
Well,
putting
how
it.
about-
Under the
how
D
about
word
this?
to describe it?
like above Dead Man's Shoes or above of late, I think Cliffordville, somewhere around there.
I could do that.
I like Dead Man's Shoes.
Did you? It was just you and I on that episode too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a great episode, but I mean, it was entertaining. It was kind of like, yeah,
What about between Dead Man's Shoes and Young Man's Fancy?
Young Man's Fancy could have been so good. That's the one you were
could've.
trying to think of earlier, Nick. The mom in the house.
was I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The ending?
I
they
think that
botched-
works.
They botched the ending, but anyway.
I mean, I think for this one too, honestly, there is a decent story here, but the execution was just whether it was money or whether it was budget or time or what,
Mm.
I really-
the history aspects of it were let down by,
I really
The-
think that the ending was thought out and the rest wasn't. They just said, okay, how do we get from here to this ending?
right.
Which is any story I
Yeah.
know, but like that was I feel like it just seemed like they had the ending real thought out and they came up with that first and then they were like, all right, let's fill in the rest.
And it's like that
Yeah.
South Park thing where it's like steal underpants, question mark, make money.
Exactly.
Yeah, profit.
Yeah, so between Dead Man's Shoes and Young Man's Fancy. Does that sound
Yeah.
good?
Oh, Nick, I
Yeah.
have to ask, does this remind you of a Treehouse of Horror episode at all?
The Seventh is Made of Phantoms?
Yeah.
No.
No, but Ben Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
Maybe this is Kevin Smith's favorite episode.
Quite
Maybe Ben
possibly.
Affleck's favorite.
Ironically, to that little quote that people remember say, I always liked Phantoms. I thought Ben Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms, yo.
I get Phantoms and the one Guillermo del Toro mixed up all the time.
Yeah, I'm
Phantasms?
No.
that was Don
The creature
Coscarelli.
one.
Oh,
yeah,
Pans.
yeah.
I get Phantoms and Puppet
No, not Pans.
Chronos.
He
You're
did
thinking of
one that
Chronos.
was with Mina Savari.
Chronos. Oh no, that's Relic. You get Relic and
Relic.
Phantoms mixed up.
Yeah, I do. I because I get mixed up with the name and the people. It's
I
a
get
long story.
Phantoms and Puppet Masters mixed up because they came out like the same time, pretty much.
Puppet Master is
Yeah.
in the as in the full moon.
No,
Yeah,
no.
that's-
Puppet Masters, it's like the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, kinda.
Oh, okay.
These aliens like attach to people's necks and they puppet the human beings.
Ah, got it.
It's
I was thinking the
thinking
wrong
of the
Puppet
Charles.
Kinda like
I was thinking of the
Phantoms.
Charles Band ones myself.
Yay! I'm not alone.
No, it came out. Well, it came out at the same time as the Phantoms in the mid '90s.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
Deep Impact and Armageddon.
Yeah, Dante's Peak and
You know,
whatever that nonsense was.
Volcano.
Volcano,
The
yes.
core
Johnson and
and
Hayes.
the core.
Coast is toast, yeah. The toast is yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think we'll put it there. So new number 99 is the seventh is made up of phantoms. I think it's is it made up of phantoms or made I gotta rewrite that.
Phantoms.
Yeah, made up of phantoms. I
Seventh
put
is
made of phantoms.
That
Made
is
up
a-
of
That
That
like
phantoms.
name's
could
not
it be
very
made
good.
of cheese?
That name does
What's
not.
that?
roll off the tongue.
Yes.
The seventh is made of
We need
cheese.
cool tall Budweiser.
Yay!
So yeah, new number 99, the seventh is made up of phantoms. Number one is still the trouble, or I did that last time. Number one is still Eye of the Beholder. Number 130 is the Trouble with Templeton. Next
Hold up, hold up,
And-
hold up. 107 is now a piano in.
The house.
every
Yeah,
week or every week they have to do this.
You wouldn't believe it, but he's still clenching his cheeks too.
Yeah, Jacob almost passed out the last time he tried, or one of the times he tried to do this.
I didn't get
Remember,
very
if you die, Jacob, I get your computer. So, or Triv get your computer since she has a potato.
Yeah,
What?
she needs it.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to disagree with that one, but yeah.
You can have my movie.
The next,
Yay!
there you go. The next episode, of course, is season 5, episode 11. It's called "A Short Drink from a Certain Fountain." Apparently, this is a Fountain of Youth episode, from what I hear. Directed by Bernard Gerard.
Gerard?
When I read the
Say
story
big
by
money at Gerard.
story by Lou Holtz. I thought that was a guy from
Notre Dame.
the coach Lou Holtz, but it's not. It's written by Rod Serling. Stars Patrick O'Neill, Rudo Lee, Walter Brooke. We'll find out if that's any good next week. It's late. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you for staying up. I know we all have to get to work in the morning, most of us. But thank you for coming on. We'll see you. I believe
Thanks
we
for having
have
me
you
on.
coming on. Yeah, I think we have you on for what I think is probably one of the coolest episodes of the Twilight Zone, which is Stopover in a Quiet Town or Sleepy Town or something like that.
Yeah,
what
I'm
the
gonna bring a
episode
prop to that. I'm gonna bring a prop to that episode.
But can you out pop Rob? Because man, he was going hardcore. He had the full
Yeah,
old
well-
man in the hill kind of a get up.
Yeah. Stopover in a Quiet Town. That's what it is, which I think is a really cool episode.
Nice.
Earl
Very cool
Hamner Jr.
episode.
But Kurt, you still have content. I don't know which content you're doing at the
I'm
moment, but you have content. Yeah,
Still
what's that?
writing on Letterboxd. It's on my Twitter bio. It's Swayze of Arabia. I am
Great
on
name, by the
Twitter.
way.
Thank you. I'm proud of it myself. I am still on Twitter for the time being. I am on Blue Sky, Instagram. I don't have Threads because I refuse to give Mark Zuckerberg more my presence on his social media platforms. But yeah, I write letterbox reviews. I just did one for this really crappy Eric Roberts movie called City Rush 3 that's only 47 minutes long, and it's the worst piece of
Nice.
crap I've ever seen in my life.
Oh man,
Most-
it's got
most
the
Eric Roberts
best.
movies.
It's got the best like shootout
The
scene.
shootout scene in City Rush 3 is the best shootout ever. It's better than the one in Heat.
Absolutely.
But yeah, if you want to read my musings on or my reviews on those things, check out my letterbox. I think I've written about almost 140. It's getting close to October, so I'm about ready to do my 31 days of horror that I've done every year since 2020, where I watch 31 days of horror movies and rank them and write blurbs about them. So look out for that if you want to follow me on Letterboxd or any of the other social media platforms I mentioned.
Nice. Can't wait to see that. I like when people do that because it means I get to watch people suffer, and they do have fun doing it. So good luck to you on that, Kurt.
Thank you.
I be interested to see kind of what you watch because I'm always interested in weird, crazy horror films. So
Yeah, it's a mix of
Yeah.
the classics and a lot of B movies. So I try to have that nice
Nice.
counterbalance.
nice. Jacob,
See.
content. You've moved spaces like Alex. Where's all that content in space at?
Coming soon. I don't have shit. I released. a
Well, you
video.
posted your video that apparently some people complained about. So I mean, you have something.
Yeah, I released that video. I have another one planned, but I haven't even started on it. I've been busy. I think after I get everything moved over to this room, I'll start working on it. I did make something cool that's gonna make making that video a lot easier. I made because those story of videos I do, my other stuff's not scripted in the slightest. I literally turn a camera on and just ramble for hours. But those story of ones are highly scripted. They have to be. And I made a teleprompter. I'm pretty
Oh,
proud of myself.
nice. Very
And
cool.
It works. I made it and it actually worked. I was like, wow.
Congratulations.
I made it for like $10. I don't even think it costs that much. Like some glass and a folder.
Makeshift stuff is the best way to go.
It
Yeah,
is.
It works really good. Like if you're ever, because like I don't have a problem remembering lines, but I fumble a lot when I'm in there like all by myself. So like it'll help me like, because I write like these big long diatribes that I have to like say, and I like forget them. And I was real hot in that room too half the time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to shooting the next one. So I'll be able to maybe not have to like shoot hours and hours of video to cut down. I gotta write
Hey,
it.
whatever. whatever you can do to save time is how you got to do it, man. 'Cause it sucks.
Absolutely.
But Triv, what about you?
Yes. Content, places, things, people, history, culvers, not culvers, custers. Anyway, concrete mixers, always good. Anyway, trivia. Fuck's sake. You can find me over at Trivial Theater here on YouTube. I do random, obscure, and straight up bad movies. I need to get back onto some normal reviews, but I'm also in the middle of doing short riffs, PSAs, and training videos. All three of these knuckleheads are going to be on at some point with me. We just got to get stuff scheduled. Up next, I believe, is Dan from TYTD Reviews with a couple of kid-friendly learning videos that blew my mind. I don't know if they blew his or not, but
I can't
those
wait to
will
see those.
those will be up next. Back-to-back weeks. I'm also working on normal reviews. I just gotta get the time to be able to sit down and do them properly. So definitely keep an eye out. I just did one on the story of menstruation, which is a Disney a 40s movie from Disney, which is interesting. But yeah, so stop by, say hi.
Hi.
Excellent.
Hi.
Excellent. Stop by, say hi, Triv. That's all you need to do. For myself, I have some content, Snowpiercer and Aliens, and I mean it'll be like a week old at this point, Alien, and of course, the Blink twice, and I'm sure something will come out next week that I'll review, but
Your
Look
look
Alien
forward to
review up?
that stuff. What's up?
Is your Alien review up?
It is. It went up at 3:00 today as we record,
Yay.
or
No
yesterday.
spoilers?
So no spoilers.
Oh,
It's an
well.
alien movie. What do you need this? What do you need?
Well, I
There's
heard.
not too
I
much
know
to
that
spoil.
I heard that the third act is like insane, and I know there's some like really nasty surprises there.
Yeah.
I've been
Well,
trying
you'll
not to
see.
get spoiled by that. I heard it's
Well, hopefully
See it
assholes have
Saturday.
been spoiling it because it really needs to be seen to believe. So anyways, with that said, we're going to head out. We're going to go back to the Twilight Zone. And for myself, Triv, Jacob, and Kurt, we'll see you guys next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, motherfucker.